Good morning, foodies. Who wants to make a chocolate cake? I do! Alright, so in a couple of days, I am going to go to a vegan potluck, and tomorrow I close, so I won't really have time to bake, and then the next day is the potluck, and it takes me like an hour and a half to 2 hours to get there, so I'm not going to be baking in the morning, so I'm baking the cake today. I'm going to make the frosting the night before, probably the frosting the morning of, and then frost it then. So this video is just going to show you how to make the cake because it's stupid easy and it's very tasty, and I will put a link in the description box below that has the cake recipe and also the frosting recipe. I've made the cake once and it turned out really good. I have not made the frosting yet, so we'll see how that goes when I make it the morning of the potluck, and if for any reason the frosting doesn't taste good, I just won't put it on top, but I don't see why it wouldn't taste good. So the chocolate cake that we are making is the Adonis cake from Engine 2, and it has no oil in it, so it's probably one of the healthiest chocolate cakes you'll eat. But there's no other weird stuff in it, no black beans or beets or dates or anything like that. I know most of you don't have a problem with most of that stuff, but this is just a really easy cake, and you should have everything on hand that you need. So let's go ahead and get started. And as you can see here, the cake is online, so we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It is from one of his books, I think My Beef with Meat, or I don't know, something like that. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and throw this all together really quickly and get it in the oven. Alright, I already have my oven preheating, and this is the pan I'm gonna use. It's my little silicone pan that I've made a cake in before. Sorry, bad angle. Anyways, the recipe calls for a 9x9 pan, but this is more like the 9x13 pan silicone. And the reason I'm using this size instead of the size, probably want to look at my face when I'm talking to you. The reason I'm using that size instead of the size that it calls for is I need this to feed more people, so I can cut this into smaller portions, and it cuts the cooking time by 1/3. It only took 20 minutes to cook instead of 30, so there's another bonus for you. Alright, let me get all the ingredients together. And who am I kidding? I don't get all the ingredients together, I just kind of grab them as I go. So first step, we're going to use whole wheat pastry flour. I believe it says that it calls for whole wheat flour, but I find that whole wheat pastry flour has a better texture than wheat flour. So we need 1½ cups. Alright, so I'm just going to spoon this in there. You're supposed to like fluff your flour up a little bit and then spoon it into your cup, or fluff the flour and then scoop it out. If you don't fluff the flour up a little bit, I know that sounds funny, but you could end up getting your cup more densely packed with flour and end up having more flour than you actually need in the recipe. Normally I would do this like over the actual flour bucket, but I don't have one for my whole wheat pastry flour, so we're just going to do it this way. And then I guess what's left I can kind of put back in the bag. Y'all can definitely use regular flour. Just obviously this is an Engine 2 recipe, so it's going to call for a healthier flour to use. I'm going to try to put you guys at a different angle. We're going to try this angle, and you guys can tell me how well it works, because that's what we're going to do for now. You can kind of see in the bowl now. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. Now time to get the cocoa powder. Alright, we need 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Use whatever cocoa powder you use, doesn't matter to me. Just make sure it's one that's cocoa powder and doesn't have any added salt or sugar in it. This one just happens to be Nestle cocoa powder. I remember when I got it free when I bought something else. I don't even remember what it was. I usually buy my cocoa powder at Trader Joe's. But again, this was free, so I don't pass up free. What's next? We need some baking soda. Make sure you grab baking soda and not baking powder. Let's see, we need 1 teaspoon. I don't know. Should I even show you the instruments I'm using? 1 teaspoon. I got these cute little measuring spoons at Target. They kind of stick together, so it's harder to lose them in the drawer. Next, we're going to whisk it all together. This is my favorite whisk. It's tiny and it's purple, but I'm going to use a little bit bigger one. I love tiny things. I find that it makes doing stuff easier when you've got the right size instrument. Right. Oh, and this recipe also has no salt in it. Feel free to add a pinch of salt if you think it needs it. When I made it the first time, I did add salt to it because I did not put the frosting on it. And I figured if it wasn't going to have that sweet frosting, the salt needed to enhance the sweetness that was already in here. So that was my thinking. So if you're going to make this without the added frosting, you might want to add a pinch of salt. Not a lot. Half a teaspoon or so is plenty. What's next? Hopefully my arm's not in the way too much. I think we just put all the wet ingredients in here and then just mix it up. Like, that's how easy this recipe is. Alright, first wet ingredient is maple syrup. Don't worry, y'all. This will be edited better so you won't have all this dead time. This is the maple syrup I'm using right now. It's from Trader Joe's. I also buy the big jug from Costco when I go there. But honestly, the Trader Joe's one is actually a pretty good price compared to other stores and also compared to online. I do a lot of comparison pricing. So Trader Joe's and Costco have some of the best prices on stuff. Alright, so for the maple syrup, it's 2/3 of a cup. I hope I have enough left because I was using this in some yogurt. And if I'm a little short, oh, too bad. I could probably put in some agave if I really needed to. I think it's going to take the rest of this bottle. You probably could substitute agave. It would be a different kind of sweetness though, I would think, because the maple syrup is a darker, richer sweetness than agave is. Look, I had just enough, guys. Just enough. We're all gone. So sad. Next is applesauce. I buy applesauce in a cup because I don't always know if I'm going to eat it. So I don't want to get the big tub of it and then it go bad. So these are the little 4-ounce cups. One of these is perfect. I measured it out one day and it was pretty much spot on. So I didn't see the need to go out and measure it after that. And no, you do not taste the applesauce in the recipe. It doesn't taste like apple chocolate cake. It just tastes like chocolate cake. And I do recycle my applesauce cups. Of course, I recycle whatever I can, right? Vinegar. So I buy the big things of white vinegar, and then I just take an old Trader Joe's apple cider vinegar bottle, and I just fill it up with white vinegar for cooking purposes. Alright, how much do I need? I need a tablespoon of white vinegar. This is going to give me that leavening action, make it all bubbly. Running out of vanilla because I've been baking more often again. Need a teaspoon of vanilla. Alright guys, it calls for, let's put this over here. It calls for 3/4 of a cup of cold water. So I don't always think about this ahead of time, obviously. You guys know my style. So if you don't have water already cold, and I don't know if it makes a big difference if it's room temperature or cold, so I'm just going to make sure it's cold, is I'll just put a couple ice cubes in, stir it around till it's cold, and then take the ice cubes out. This is the exact same thing I do when I make the vegan egg by Follow Your Heart, because you're supposed to have ice cold water. You can either keep some in the fridge or whatever, so you always have it handy, or just do this. And I just stir it around until... yeah, it's nice and cold now. I'll take out the ice cubes and see if I need a little extra water or a little bit less. Put that in my drink. I always have a big cup of water sitting in the living room. Oh, I need a little more water. Didn't melt as much as I thought it would. There we go. Let's get that back under there. 3/4 of a cup of cold water. And I think all we gotta do is mix it together. So first I'm gonna start out with the whisk, just to get everything kind of blended together a little bit, and then I'll finish stirring up with my spatula when it gets a little bit thicker. I'm gonna switch over to my spatula. That way I don't have to get, you know, the thick batter out from in between the tines of the whisk, because it's a pain in the ass, as you can see. And you can lick this whisk because there's no eggs in here. Ah. Y'all will have to tell me if you like this angle of me cooking. Remember, I don't have a lot of sophisticated, you know, equipment or anything. I do like to clean at least a little bit as I go, or at least rinse stuff off so you're not dealing with hard, crusty stuff after you're done cooking. You can see it getting bubbly. Can you guys see all those bubbles? Isn't that awesome? It's because of the vinegar and the baking soda. It creates a chemical reaction. It's our leavening agent to make our cake a little bit fluffier. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this cake has no oil in it, remember? So it's not gonna be the same texture as a traditional chocolate cake. It is a little bit denser. The texture is a tiny bit gummier, but for basically a guilt-free chocolate cake, I'm okay to give up a little bit of the texture that I really, really enjoy, because the flavor is still really good. And I did the stats on this, and let's see if I can remember. Without the frosting, sorry that my TV just came back on. Without the frosting, I figured that this whole cake, so the whole cake has 1,250 calories and 7.5 grams of fat. 1,250 calories and 7.5 grams of fat for this whole cake, minus the frosting. But still, like, so if you ate the whole cake one night because you're super depressed or whatever, you don't have to feel super guilty. Mildly guilty, but not super guilty. A few chunks of, you know, chunks left in this is not a big deal. I'm just being overly, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to overmix it and it'll turn out differently, but those just look like bigger lumps than I'm used to. I'm going to go mute the TV, and you guys don't need to see me sitting here smushing lumps anyways. Okay. So now we've got the cake pan, and it's a silicone bake pan, so you don't have to oil it, grease it, line it, nothing. That's the whole point of getting this kind of pan. The sticking to this is extremely minimal. I would say, if at all. I had just like a little bit of the bottom of the cake, I think, the first time I made it. Stuck just a tiny bit, but nothing crazy, you know? So you can save yourself from added oils, added cooking spray, and obviously you don't have to buy parchment paper, which saves on your wallet, but also saves the environment because you don't have to throw it away. So I'm trying to get more silicone bakeware, and I use Silpat. I use the silicone mats when I bake other stuff, and then I have these little silicone baking cups. And that's all you do, folks. Just put it in here, make sure it's spread evenly into all the corners, which doesn't take very much effort, as you can see. And we're gonna put this in the oven. It says bake for 30 minutes, but again, this pan is bigger, so it actually only needs to bake for 20. But if your oven is like mine, it doesn't bake evenly, so after 10 minutes, I'm gonna come and rotate this pan completely around. So you guys will see the finished product when it comes out. And don't forget to lick your spatula, because remember, there's no eggs in here. Nom 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 nom. You can let your kids go crazy licking the bowl too. And, you know, licking the stuff up off the floor that you dropped too. Alright. And also remember, with this kind of bakeware, I didn't do this the right way this time, but I usually get a cookie sheet and set it on top of the cookie sheet. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to turn the camera off because I'm sure you don't want to listen to me talk and then watch this. So I will be back when this is ready. Real quick, while I have that baking, you may be asking yourself, because you heard me say that this is for a potluck in 2 days, will this last? Yes, this will last. I think it was on my countertop when I made the first one for 5 days, and it was totally fine. So I'm going to make this a couple days ahead of time just because I have to, and just cover it up and try not to eat it. And then I'll frost it the day that I bring it and cut it up and all that good stuff. But yes, it for sure definitely will last on your countertop for 5 days, probably even longer. I don't know if it even lasts that long. I was the only one eating it. My husband wasn't eating it, so that tells you how much I was eating. I probably shouldn't have told you that. But like I said, it's fairly guilt-free, right? Alright folks, and there you have it, a full-length view of a beautiful chocolate cake that's gonna be yummy. So if y'all have tried this before, let me know, and if you're gonna try it, let me know how you like it. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to y'all next time.